buttocks. Doesn't that take courage? Man, I wish I could bottle this up. I wish I could bottle this up and sprinkle it around the world, because what a wonderful world it would be. Amazing. Thank you, Ideas in Motion. Thank all of you for being here. What an amazing night. How many people have gotten a nugget of courage and inspiration so far? Thanks to my crew back there. Love you guys. And of course it includes my amazing legally wedded wife of 5 years, Krista. So as Jenny said, the name on the birth certificate is in fact Buffy. Real deal. It's not a college nickname I couldn't get over. Glory days isn't playing in the back of my head. Buffy, Buffy, Buffy. It is on the driver's license. And I'm going to share a secret with you guys that I don't share with too many people. Buffy wasn't supposed to be my name. It was supposed to be Matthew. You see, the doctor had told my parents to expect their third bouncing baby boy, Michael 6, Mark 3, and Matthew on the way. Imagine their surprise on that cold February morning when Matthew didn't arrive. I guess they were so freaked out that they turned to my 6-year-old brother, Michael, and said, "What do you want to name your new baby sister?" And what did Michael say? Well, his first choice was Evel Knievel, so thank God they went with the second choice, which was Buffy. That's a true story. And I know what you're thinking, with a name like Buffy, how was that childhood? And it was freaking awesome. Child of the 80s. Who's with me? Was life not a gift back then? Man, I got so many good stories for you guys, but let's face it. The stories of courage aren't found in the good childhood memories, right? We gotta get to the heat, the fire, the tough stuff. So that's the perfect segue to the last time I was in my childhood home. I was pulling myself up the banister of the front stairs, fighting against the force of water flowing down. Now, I was a crazy college kid at the time, so part of me was like, hey, this is cool. Buffy is surfing. But the other side of me was like, I think something's wrong. And I knew what it was right away. But I'm not going to tell you yet. Let me give you a little background story. I had grown up in that spacious 3-bedroom apartment up above my great-grandparents. And we took care of everything for my grandparents. My dad, my mom, my 2 brothers, and myself. We fed them. We made sure they got to their doctor's appointments. We took them shopping. And what an awesome childhood that was. Talk about learning compassion and patience and the importance of family. And you know, I never heard my parents complain one single time about taking care of my aging great-grandparents. Now fast forward to the 1990s, I was in college. My great-grandpa had recently passed away at the age of 104. My great-grandma had passed away a few years before that. My mom was very, very ill, and I was taking care of her. My dad had moved out, and my 2 brothers had moved away, and they were living life on their own. And life, well, it was life. And then one day, out of the blue, I received something called a court summons that informed me that my mom and I were being evicted from my childhood home. I soon found out that before my great-grandfather had passed away, my aunt had changed his will, removed everyone else as a benefactor, and made herself the sole person to get everything, including that home. Now, I guess in my college head, I just assumed that justice would prevail. I would show up in court without a lawyer. I would tell the story of what happened. Open and shut case. Aunt would go to jail, and I would get back on with life. But that is not what happened. I don't even think I got to say too many words in court that day before the judge yelled out a date, banged his gavel, and that was it. My mom and I had a very short amount of time to get out of our home. Evicted. And guys, I didn't know it at the time, but something was about to happen in that courtroom that would change me forever. In the midst of that chaos, the hurt, the anger, the disbelief, the betrayal, the rage, all those emotions that were swirling within me since I had received that paperwork was about to come to a head. But I stood at a crossroads, right there in that courtroom. A choice between courage and comfort. Which would I choose? And I remember as a small, still voice spoke to me right down in here. And I heard that voice say, "Don't worry, I got this. I know the score." And with that, I walked over to my aunt and I said 3 words. Courtney, what 3 words did I say? I expected like an F-bomb out of you or something.
You're not allowed to cuss at this event.
There you go. The 3 words that I said to her, I forgive you. And with that, an amazing thing happened. The weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. It was nothing short of a miracle, as all that anger and frustration and heartbreak, it left me in an instant. Now guys, she hadn't said, "I'm sorry." She offered no remorse or words of reconciliation. My freedom had nothing to do with her actions. Bless you.
Thank you.
My freedom was a result of the choice I had just made. But let's not forget, it was winter in Northwest Indiana, and I had to find a place for my mom and myself to live, while also packing up 4 generations of stuff. No, right? Preach, sister. Now I must have looked at a dozen apartments that was within my budget. And let me tell you, apartment hunting sucked. And over dinner one night, I was sharing my struggles with my grandparents. And nonchalantly, my grandma just said, "Well, my elderly neighbor down the street is looking to sell her house." Now, at 19, I should have said, "No, thank you, no way," and run the other way. But instead, I said, "Let's go take a look." The next day, we were speaking to the son who was selling the house. And he met us outside on that cold winter day, and he said, "Listen," he said, "I don't want to waste your time. My mom doesn't want to sell the house. It's time that she moves in with me. We've already got a cash offer that was above the asking price." But my mom said he wasn't the one. So he said, "I apologize in advance if we're wasting your time." So we go in, we take a tour, the elderly lady showed us around, and about halfway through that tour, she pulled her son aside, and I felt the chopping block was ready. I heard him raise his voice. He was super upset. I kind of gave a courteous wave and showed myself to the door, thinking I wasn't the one either. He ran out after me and he said, "Well, what do you think?" But before I could even answer, he said, "My mom wants to sell you the house." And the reason I was just so upset with her is because she not only wants to sell you the house, she wants to sell it to you at a very, very, very reduced rate. We closed on that house in 3 weeks, and I was moving in the dead of winter. Gathered up as many friends as I could, some of whom are here tonight that moved me out of that childhood home. The mortgage on that house was $321. And the day after that move out of my childhood home, I went back there for one more visit. And that's where you found me climbing up the banister, fighting against the force of water that was flowing down those stairs. And when I got to the top of those stairs that I had climbed 1,000 times before, I couldn't believe my eyes. The ceiling had crashed in. The water was buckling the walls. Because you see, at the beginning of the winter, my aunt had turned off the heat on us. And that particular night when we moved out of my childhood home, the temperatures had dropped low enough to have those pipes burst. Karma, baby, karma. Now I could have stood in that house and felt 100 different emotions, but at that time, I want to tell you, I felt nothing but gratitude. Gratitude we had gotten out in time. Gratitude for the elderly lady that sold me her home. I bought that house for less than my first car, by the way. I was grateful for the friends who moved me in Northwest Indiana in the dead of winter. But most importantly, I want you to know I was grateful for my aunt. Had she not done what she did, the powerful freedom that came with having the courage to forgive probably would have eluded me for years and years. She revealed a lesson to me that in the midst of trauma and drama, for the rest of my life, I would have the courage to believe that my miracle was coming. And boy, did it come. And I joked with the Ideas in Motion folks that I was going to share my ingredients of my not-so-secret Courage Over Comfort sauce. And those were the first 2 ingredients I learned at the age of 19. Now there's so many ingredients by the time you're my age, and I can't share all of them with you, but let me share the foundational few. And I hope this isn't the end of our conversation together. I hope I've piqued your interest enough to want to hear the rest of the ingredients. You guys know where to find me at Boys and Girls Clubs. So let's continue this conversation. But for now, let me share with you the foundational few. The most important ingredients by far, friends, is to have the courage and the faith to believe in something bigger than yourself. My relationship with Christ is the cornerstone to everything I do. And friends, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about relationship. And it's the kind of relationship that when you're in the middle of a trauma and drama, you're going to hear that small, still voice that says, "Don't worry, I got you. I know the score." Next, drop those F-bombs. Not those F-bombs. The forgiveness bombs. I want you guys to sprinkle around forgiveness and grace like it's freaking confetti. Let go of that contempt that comes from the ugliness of disagreement. And maybe most importantly, Understand the power of your thoughts and words shape your reality. Friends, understand that the law of attraction is real. What you think and what you say will determine where you are in your life, good or bad. So get control of those thoughts and feelings and use it to your advantage. Have a teachable spirit. In the midst of criticism, take what you can from that and learn. Want to grow and evolve to a better version of yourself every single day. And finally, share your treasure and share your gifts. Guys, you were placed to do here something more than just pay bills and lose weight. It's so much bigger than that, and I want you to have the courage to find why you are here. And let me tell you, I'll assume that most of you guys are Northwest Indiana residents, and there is no greater gift that you can give than investing in the youth of our community. Folks, we have a suicide epidemic, with Indiana being number 1 and number 2 in suicide and suicide contemplation. We have kids that don't have running water or food on their tables. And I want you to know that maybe for nothing else, the reason you're here tonight is to hear of this need and to reach out to me at Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Northwest Indiana that serves 12,000 youth, and let's get involved together. Friends, there's a world of joy, happiness, and freedom that exists outside of your comfort zone, outside of your current circumstances, your physical health, your finances, and even outside of the people in your life. This place is found within the mixture of all the ingredients of this not-so-secret courage over comfort sauce. And I promise you, once you get enough of this sauce in you, it's not going to matter what's happening around you. So after tonight, my hope for you is that you have the courage to explore a new way of thinking and living that will truly transform your relationships, your career, and your inner self in such a way that you will never, ever again settle for a mediocre life of mere comfort again.